Good morning. Yeah. Good morning, Sue. Yeah, rainy. It really must have rained a lot last night. Everything is really wet out there today. But and just very gross too. Very hot. Very. I mean, not even that hot. Just really humid and not great. I've got some stuff I want to do outside today too, but we'll see if it dries out a little or I don't know. Maybe we'll get a little breeze and won't be so bad. But right now, I'm not really looking forward to that. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, this when we have these fronts, these like tropical storms and things that come through, it seems like it just gets so still and it just sits um, over top, and it's just really the worst, right? The humidity and lack of breeze are kind of the worst type of combination, and it's very hard to breathe, and you just feel very, you know, like a fish. Like you'd probably have a better chance out there if you were a fish right about now. But I don't know. It's Delaware. It's always like this. I don't know why I should be surprised. I'm not, um, but it isn't. It isn't great. So, all right. Well, let's see. What should we talk about today? I don't know. Um, nothing really. Nothing really springs to mind. Nothing really happened this weekend that I was thinking about would be good to talk about. Um, I had to take my car into the shop to get some work done on it because I'm anticipating actually using it again. We've been making do with one car pretty much. My husband has a much newer car than I do, and but that's been fine. In fact, for most of the pandemic, my car didn't even start. I think I just left it, and then the battery was kind of old, so eventually the battery just died because I wasn't driving it, and then it just just didn't feel like taking care of it, so it just sat there, and yeah. Good morning, Ruth. So then my husband did take it in, get me a new battery, and that was great. Um, but yeah, it's running, but there's a few things that need some attention, some maintenance, right? It's an older car. We've had it for quite a bit, almost 10 years, I think, and I'm going to keep it longer if I can. I'm definitely not a person that cares a lot about my car. I mean, I want to have a good start, but I don't really care what it is, right? A car is a car to me, right? If it gets you from one place to the other, it's a good car. Um, so uh, I will be grateful for that, and you know that's my one requirement when it comes to a car. It has to be reliable. Um, and if we get to the point where it won't start when I need it to, then it's time for a new car. But not until then. Um, and that's sort of um, the way I look at things, right? And I don't know. I guess it was maybe the way I was raised. But if things weren't broken or worn out, you didn't replace them. Um, and that's kind of been guiding my guiding thing. This is something that we need to take a look at, though, right? This idea. So the way we were raised, different beliefs and ideas that we may have, aren't always the best for us, right? Sometimes our parents and relatives and whatever did pass on some really helpful information. But sometimes the information was very helpful to them, but not really helpful to us. It may not really apply to our state and time. I'm constantly reminded how little I know about how things are now for my kids. There are some things I can help them with, but there are other things that I'm struggling with myself, right? Getting a job is a completely different proposition these days than it was, 30 years ago when I was looking for a job. Um, Technology has changed a lot of things. So, um, one thing I, noticed from how I was raised was this idea of not replacing things, not getting rid of things meant, that my father was drowning in stuff, right? Because he could never get rid of anything, right? It always maybe had a use, so you better keep it. Um, he also um, didn't get things that would have helped him, right? And this is something I've had to learn. The idea that there are things that might be better than what you have, even if what you have is perfectly good. It may not be the best suited for what you want to do specifically. And it's okay to do something different, right? If you need to. Um, I am always trying to remind myself and remind my husband that there are some very simple and small things that you can do that will improve the quality of your life. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. Maybe sometimes it doesn't cost anything at all. It's just a little bit of effort, a little bit of planning. Um, there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with trying to do things an easier way. I think sometimes, and I know in the yoga community, this is a thing, right? That there's some um, moral failing to taking shortcuts, right? That doing things the hard way is the right way. That I don't believe that. I don't believe that's true at all. I think doing things the hard way is sometimes the only way, but it's not always the only way. And if you can find a better way, then you should do it, right? If you can find a tool that will help you, you should see if you can acquire that tool. Um, there's no inherent virtue in doing things harder than you have to. Um, Yoga is all about ease, right? The yoga asana. Asana is easy pose. It is um, it is meant to be a place of relative ease. Maybe not at first, but you want to find that ease, right? If you're constantly at the very edge of your capacity, you're never at ease. You're always trying. And I think many of us spend our whole life at that point of struggle, of trying so hard to get to the next thing. We can't even enjoy the thing that we are at or the place we are at because all we can see is what's next. All we can care about is what else we might do, what the next thing is, right? So take some time to enjoy wherever you are. Um, don't always be so focused on what comes next. And if you can find a shortcut, if you can find something that will help you get to where you need to get, don't feel like you can't do that. Don't feel that there's something bad about that. There isn't. Um, I think often we are given these things. We are given these opportunities or these uh, items that will come across our path for a reason, um, because they will enhance our journey. Um, and there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of that. So um, if you see that, then take it. Um, it's I think the yoga journey itself and the journey of life um, is hard, right? We are constantly working and struggling. Um, this is kind of the nature of things. Uh, I often um, I try to remember that nobody ever said any of this would be easy. If your life isn't easy, that may just be because you are trying to get a lot of things done. Um, I think people believe there's something wrong when their life is hard. That's not necessarily true. Your life may be hard because you are trying to accomplish a lot of things, whereas someone who is um, very inert, right, just very much staying where they are, things may seem easy, right, and you may also have these periods of ease, um, but those periods of activity then will, you'll forget all about that time of ease because you're back in the struggle again. So if you are feeling like things are a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of struggle, maybe you want to let go of a few of the things you're trying to do and take some ease. Just like our practice, we want to find that ease. And if you are uncomfortable in your pose and comfortable in your practice, back off a little, do a little bit less, find that ease again. And then when you're ready, maybe go forward a little. Um, but again, be mindful of this. You don't have to do it um, if it's not okay for you right now. All right. So, with that in mind, your practice. Let's do a little breathing. So, relaxing through the shoulders. Got that shoulder right over the hip, sitting nice and tall. Sometimes the breathing can be difficult, right? Sometimes we find that there's a lot of catch. There's places in the body where the breath seems to catch or get stuck. Um, Probably the best way through that is to just continue to breathe. If you feel areas where the breath is stuck, see if you can kind of mindfully relax into that space. Right? So maybe it's the upper chest, or maybe it's the lower chest. Whatever it is, see if you can just hold that steady. And I find if I am having the breath stuck anywhere, slowing down your breathing can help with that. And sometimes we're just trying to move that whole process too quickly. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then drop the chin down toward the chest. You can just keep that head hanging down for a few breaths. Then lifting up, keep lifting. Head back to center, take a breath, and then we're lowering, head to the right. Back to center, head goes left. And back up. Let's walk the hands out in front. Back up. Bring the arms behind. Let's squeeze the shoulders together. Gaze up. And then back to your seat. Let's bring the arm up overhead. We're going to bend at the elbow and reach that left hand back. Maybe you can touch the back of the neck or the shoulder here. I don't know. Trying to keep the head upright. You can gently kind of press down on that elbow. And then let's switch it around. Breathe. And back down. Lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Left hand on right knee, right arm behind. Sit tall, deep breath, and then twist. Back to center and twist. And back. Tabletop. Sit back on the heels. And moving back up. Tabletop. We'll go cat-cow for a few sets. Inhales and exhales. back into child's pose. Maybe bring the knees a little wider if they were close together. Or, vice versa, if you had them wide, maybe bring them closer this time. Moving back up. Tabletop, we're going to swing the right leg around. So we're up on that left knee, arms overhead. Hands to center, take a breath, and then a twist. So you can hook the elbow, or you could stay upright, just pull that right shoulder back. Back to center, right hand down on the mat, left arm lifts. Both hands down onto the floor. Walk the hands out a little, or maybe walk the leg back, right? Working into a lizard. So ideally you have kind of this knee right over top of the ankle. Sometimes we go a little forward with this. And then walk the hands back. So we're straightening out the right leg. And then maybe fold over. Set the foot down, swing it around, and we're back. In child's pose, maybe stack the fists or rest one hand on top of the other. Set the forehead down. Back up. Swing left leg around. So we're up on the right knee, arms overhead. Hands to center, deep breath, and twist. Back to center. Left hand down by the foot. Right arm lifts. Both hands down. Moving into that lizard. And then walk hands back. We're straightening out the left leg. Fold over. And swing the leg around. One more, child's pose. Moving back up. Let's walk the hands out just a little bit, shifting forward and then lower down. Head to the right, arms by your side. And bring the head back to center. We're going to leave the arms where they are, just flip the palms. Start lifting up head and chest, arms and legs. And lower down again. Head turns left. Bring your head back to center. We're going to bring the arms out in front, rolling onto one side, bend that top knee, and then extend the legs. So you could hold on to the knee or the thigh, calf, whatever you can reach here. And then we're just balancing and stretching at the same time. If you are having trouble with the balance, bend that bottom leg to give yourself a little more stability. And then release it. We're going to roll. So we're on the other side. Same thing. Stretching and balancing. And then set it down. We're going to move onto your back, onto the mat. I'm always off the mat with that one. So just get yourself in place again. Take a few breaths. And then we're going to bring right ankle on top of the left knee. This might be right where you stay. You might press this right knee away. It all depends. How does the hip feel? The right hip is tight. This may be enough. Right? You may feel like that is quite a bit. If not, then maybe you're bringing this left leg in. Right? That will make that stretch through the right hip more intense. And then set both legs down. We're going to switch around. And then however it works on this side. So I would say, barring some major situation, you're going to find about the same level of flexibility on both sides. If you do find that one is less flexible than the other, you want to work to that side. Let that side be your guide. So even if you can do this on one side but not the other, stick to what the other side can do. You will gradually work things more even. Right? If you work really hard on this very flexible side and neglect the other side because it's harder or you feel bad because it's not as flexible or whatever, you're just compounding that imbalance. We don't want that. Set the feet back down. And then bump the knees together. Let the feet walk out to the outer edges of the mat. Remember, it's not a competition, right? It isn't, right? One side doesn't get the gold star while the other side doesn't. It's the whole, right? The whole of the body. And we want to encourage those places where we need a little more help. Those are our focus, much more so than the other places where we might be more flexible. They say in yoga, the pose you hate is the pose that teaches you the most, right? So if you have a pose that you find very challenging, or for whatever reason, physically, mentally, emotionally, maybe something about that pose really sets you off, really gets you worried. There's a good reason for that. And it could be, that you're having trouble with it physically. That's one thing. But a lot of times it isn't so much the physical problem as the mental, right? We have a mental block about it. Something about it bothers us. We don't like the feelings that it brings up. We don't like how it exposes us. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. We don't like the energy that starts to move. Let's bring the knees into the chest. Just hug it. Rock a little side to side. So there's nothing to worry about or to fear in your practice. If you feel energy moving in a way that feels uncomfortable, just relax and see how it goes. Breathe. Sometimes things that have not moved around for a while can feel a little uncomfortable when they get started. So when I do this, I usually have my ankles crossed one way and then the other. It's just like a habit that I do. I just realized that I do that sort of unconsciously without even mentioning it. But it's a nice thing to do to kind of switch it around, right? We always have one way that we tend to do things. So it's good to try doing the other way also. Right? Let's bring the knees in a little closer. We're going to bring hands onto the kneecaps and then rotate. And then reverse it. Let's extend the legs here. Point and flex the feet. So this is just a different way of doing it, right? We're up in the air now. Rotate the ankles. One way and the other. Let's hug that right knee in. And then we're going to lower this one as slow as you can. And extend both legs. Bring both knees into the chest, and we're going to extend them up again. Hug that left knee in close. And then we're going to lower the right as slow as you can. and then extend both legs. Take a few breaths here. Bend the knees, soles of the feet to the mat. We're going to do one regular bridge and then one supported bridge. So you might want to have your block nearby. Pressing down with the hands and feet. We're lifting up. Lower back down. Take a couple of breaths. And then we got the block. Find a place where it feels nice and secure. And then just relax on the block. And when you're ready, just set the feet back down. Remove the block. Bring soles of the feet together. Take a few breaths. And then bring knees together, feet to the edges again of the mat. We're going to lower both knees right, gaze left. And then knees go left, gaze right. Back to center. And then you could stay like this or extend the legs for Shavasana. Again, it's always your choice. Sometimes different things feel comfortable on different days. Don't worry if you feel like you need to do it differently today. Keep breathing. When you're ready, moving a little, fingers and toes, hands and feet. And then moving up to a seat if you'd like. We'll bring hands together. Breath in and breath out. Thank you for taking time for your yoga today and for sharing that time with me. I hope that you have a very good Monday. Namaste. Okay, great. Meditation. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Come on, you can spare 5 minutes from your day, can't you? Can't all of us? Maybe. All right, keeping that peaceful state of mind, breathing, relaxing. Okay, we're back. I think I might have fallen asleep. Just very briefly there. Um, it's possible. All right. I'll be back tomorrow, and hopefully I will see you then.